Help can be a form of violence, the truth that people are afraid to admit. Why do we really want to help? And is it always about love? What if behind the phrase, I want to help you, there is often a fear that the other will remain imperfect, and if they do not change, I will feel worthless? Today we will talk about how helping becomes a form of violence and how to regain the pure intention of being there without saving. Hi there, my name is Svitlana Bugela. I'm a hypnotherapist and expert in working with the subconscious and the author of the transformational method of 3 I's. This method is not about techniques, it's about the truth. And today we will touch on a topic that hurts many. I save others but still feel worthless. Because sometimes love is not doing better. It is to endure that the other person has their own way and they don't belong to me. Let's dive into the origins of a rescuer syndrome. It all begins in childhood, where you still do not understand anything in words, but the body already feels it. So, mom cries, you're small, and something inside you is squeezing. You do not know what is wrong with her, but you know for sure if mom is in a bad state, it is dangerous. And your body begins to look for a way out. If I comfort her, everything will be fine. If I'm polite, she won't scream at me. If I do everything right, she'll notice me. She'll say she loves me. This is how the rescuer's mechanism is triggered. Outside, care, obedience, diligence, but inside, something completely different. Fear of punishment, shame for your emotions, the feeling that love has to be earned. And you begin to believe that your value is in your usefulness. If I try hard enough, others will notice me. And if others will notice me, then maybe they'll love me. And now every time someone is around you in pain, you can't just be. Because another person's pain activates your old pain. I'm not enough if I can't fix it. And you're no longer with the person. You're in their story. You're repeating their life so as not to feel your own anxiety. You're repairing their life so as not to feel your own anxiety. Not out of love, but out of a deep need to prove that you're needed, that you're worth something, that you're not empty. A rescuer cannot stand someone else's pain not because they are sensitive, but because they themselves are not able to stand it. So, chronic helper. When this becomes a lifestyle. In adult life, this scenario looks beautiful. You are the one who will always support. You are the one who pulls the team. You save, you hold, you feel in advance. At work, you become indispensable. You take on extra. You are responsible for everyone because otherwise everything will fall apart. In relationships, you choose problematic people. Those who are in pain, who can be pulled out, because next to a whole person, you don't know who you are without your primal function. In motherhood or fatherhood, you don't let a child make mistakes. You can be very nurturing. You correct, you comfort, you decide for them, because when they cry, something breaks in you. In the hobby field, you often go to therapy, coaching, mentoring, but not from deep inner peace, but from same anxiety. I have to be useful to someone, otherwise I disappear. And there is an important note. This is not about helping is bad. It's about your identity becoming dependent on other people's needs. And as soon as there is no one to save, emptiness comes. Because the main question that the Savior is afraid to hear, who am I if I don't help? And this is where real healing begins. Not when you stop helping, but when you start being even when you are not needed. So, how a Savior lives in their body. Let's talk about bodily sensations. A Savior is not just a psychological role, it's a bodily memory. Because even in childhood, the body learned, if I react quickly, I will stay connected. If I'm useful, they will not abandon me. And therefore, the body begins to live in tension. So here's how it manifests itself. Your shoulders are always slightly raised. as if you are constantly on the go, ready to turn on. Your stomach is tight, as if you are constantly worried something could go wrong. Your chest is not open, but you seem to be curling up in yourself, to be smaller, more comfortable, more invisible. Your eyes scan others. You constantly monitor how are they feeling? Is everything okay with them? Also, your breathing is a little bit shallow because breathing deeply is feeling yourself, and you have long learned to feel others better than yourself. Hyper responsibility. You don't relax even when everything is fine because you always have to be ready to pick up the pieces. And most importantly, the savior cannot be in the body because the body remembers pain and the savior has learned to live only in the head. But the body itself is your entrance to the truth because it is through the body that you can, for the first time, not fix pain, but meet it and stay. So, how, out of all of this, we can assume that help can become violent? Imagine a loved one is going through a crisis. They're confused, desperate, angry, tired, and something inside you tightens. You want to do at least something. Say at least something. So you start to advise, explain, decide, oh, let me sign you up for therapy. I know that amazing lady. She helped me a lot. Just try to look at it differently. Oh, stop it. Everything will be fine. Let's go to the bar. But what are you really doing at this moment? You're not making it easier for them. You're making it easier for yourself because their pain is the trigger for your pain. Their helplessness causes yours. Their tears remind you of yours. Their chaos awakens your anxiety. And in order not to feel it, you want to fix everything. But here's the paradox. When you try to fix another person, you're telling them one very harsh message. The way you are now, you are unbearable. This is hidden violence, when under the disguise of help, you unconsciously say, change because I can't stand you. Be different because in your truth, you hurt me. And often it sounds even with love, with care, with good intentions. But the person inside hears, what I feel is unacceptable. I'm not accepted as I am. And this separates, even if you wanted the opposite to get closer. So help becomes violence when we no longer ask ourselves, am I ready to just be there, even if the other person doesn't change? Because real support doesn't change the other person. It allows them to be, even in pain. So in practice, it looks like this. You sit opposite a loved one who is crying or going through something, and instead of saving, you're silent. You breathe, but you're together with them. You feel, you don't run away. The body wants to run away because the old anxiety is turned on. I can't stand it. I have to do something. But you remain. Not strong, not perfect, simply present. And it is this soft endurance that is the strongest thing you can give to another person. I want to share with you some personal example when love becomes a project. This is a story of my client and he allowed me to share it. So a client came to me, outwardly successful, wealthy, caring. His relationships always began the same way. Oh, I met her. She had a difficult past. And I decided I can help. I will fix everything for her in the name of love. He bought her an apartment. He paid for therapy. He endured scandals. He always found an explanation for her pain. But deep inside, he felt exhausted. And by her, I mean multiples, a lot of different women. The same scenario. So in all those stories, he felt as if he was never seen, as if he was simply used as a resource. When we got to the bottom of it, it turned out that behind all these good intentions lived one and only childish belief. You can't just love me, but if I become useful, maybe then you will stay. And then help ceases to be support. It becomes a condition of communication. I will give you everything, but be grateful, but change, but become better. Otherwise, I can't stand it. That is, help becomes a form of control. And the most painful thing It is this form of love that kills love itself. Because over time, the partner felt that she couldn't simply be herself, that any manifestation of pain is already a trigger, that her life is not hers, but a project in which she should become better. And the client, he felt empty because all the energy went outward. And the more he helped, the more he feared that without help, he was nobody. Help became his own way to be needed, and therefore the only way to be loved. So after several sessions, he said one phrase that I remember. This is like a game changer. He said, I spent my whole life building other people's lives because I was afraid that no one would want to be in mine. This was the key, because then he asked himself for the first time, who am I if I don't save? And this was the beginning of his return to himself. So in continuation of this topic, let's discuss consequences of the rescuer syndrome, the price of someone else's pain. A rescuer sounds like a hero, but if you look closely, it's one of the loneliest roles. First, you burn out because you're constantly holding on to something that is not yours. Someone else's emotions, someone else's processes, someone else's responsibility. And the most annoying thing, by saving others, you're not saving yourself. Your body gets tired first. Heaviness in the chest, chronic fatigue, poor sleep, irritation over little things. It's not just fatigue. It's eternal absent-mindedness. Because you've been away from home for a long time, away from yourself. Second, you get angry because you're not appreciated. You help, and in return, there is silence. And this silence hurts because deep down, you don't do it for no reason. You wanted love, recognition, contact, but the other person feels that your help is conditional and moves away, and you're left alone again. And the cycle repeats itself. Help, hope, expectation, disappointment, resentment, lots of resentment. So the third thing is you lose yourself. Because in every pull in you, there is moving away from myself. You don't hear your needs. You don't know what really nourishes you. Because everything you do is a reaction to someone else's pain, to expectations, to the habit of being useful. Next, you don't see the person. This is the most painful truth. When you save, you are not with the person. You are with the image of what they should be, with an idea of how they should develop, heal, become better. And this is also a form of violence because there is no acceptance. There is projection. You are not there. You are in an illusion that you're yourself created. And most importantly, you avoid yourself. A rescuer is not an altruist. This is a survival strategy. You avoid your own anxiety, your own uselessness, your own emptiness. Because stopping means hearing yourself. And this is more frightening than someone else's pain. Therefore, you're always on the move, in helping, in a little more, and it will become better, easier. But it doesn't stop, because it's not others who exhaust you, but your escape from yourself under the disguise of salvation. So here comes the question, how to get out of this dynamic from a savior to presence. This is not about stopping helping. It's about which part of yourself you do it from. Because helping out of love nourishes, and helping out of anxiety exhausts. So first, ask yourself honestly, what do I want to give to a person right now? And what do I want to get back in return? Is this really about another person, or is this a way to prove to yourself that you are needed, that you are valuable, right? This question is simple, but sometimes it breaks decades-old patterns. Next, learn to be there without action. This is the highest form of love. Being there when it hurts, when there is chaos, when there are tears, without correcting, without giving advice, without running away into solutions. Because the truth is this: the most a person wants in a crisis is not change. It is to be sustained in the truth. And this is what restores contact, provides support, heals. Next, allow yourself to be worthless and not die from it. It sounds harsh, but that's the point. A savior is a shadowy attempt not to face shame. Shame for not coping, that you are not strong enough, not smart enough, not effective. But if you can be worthless and stand your ground, you will never be dependent on your own benefit again. You will begin to live not for a role, but for the truth. Next, instead of "I will help," say "I'm with you." Feel the difference in your body. "I will help" is an action, control, condition. "I'm with you" is presence, space, warmth. Your presence can be more valuable than any advice. And I'm not against advices. Just feel when they are needed and when they're not. Next, accept that not everyone changes, and that's okay. Some people stay in their choices. They don't go deep, they don't heal, they don't grow, and your love is not about changing them. It's about not losing yourself, even if the other person doesn't choose to grow. Because then your love is no longer a savior. It is a witness, silent, strong, and present. So to leave the role of a savior is not to become indifferent. It is to become alive, and in the end, to return to your life. So guys, help is beautiful, but only when it doesn't cancel freedom, because otherwise it is no longer help. It is fear wrapped in care. It is control disguised as love. It is being useful so as not to feel worthless. And now an invitation, not as the author of the method or a practitioner, but as a person. Stop for a moment and honestly ask yourself, who did you try to help but in fact fix because you couldn't stand it? In which relationships did you act more than you were? What part of yourself did you try to prove through other people's changes? This video is not to blame anyone, but to bring you back to yourself. Because your value is not in how many people you have saved, but in what you are. Sometimes the greatest gift is just to be there, without a role, without a function, without fear that it is not enough. If this episode touched you, leave a comment, not for me, but for yourself. Because what is written no longer lives in the shadows. And if you want more videos like this, support it with a like and subscription. It is not about numbers. It's about someone else, maybe right now, seeing this video and not hearing change for the first time, but I'm with you. Because the world doesn't need another hero. The world really needs presence. And this is your greatest light that comes from within.